611,000 followers, 5 posts, 0 accounts followed back, and one of the most uncomfortable contradictions in modern Watchtower history. When the link first started circulating in WhatsApp groups, on family chats, in private messages between elders and longtime publishers, the reaction was almost universal. People refused to believe it was real. They opened jw.org searching for an announcement. They asked their elders. They messaged the brother who runs the local audiovisual team. They were certain it had to be a fake, a trick, an apostate account designed to embarrass the organization. It wasn't fake. The governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, the same body that for 3 decades told members to stay off social media, the same body that called the internet a den of apostate propaganda, the same body that warned that platforms like Instagram and TikTok were vehicles for misinformation, has now launched official accounts on Instagram and TikTok. And by the end of this video, you will understand why some longtime publishers are calling this the most blatant policy reversal since the blood fraction allowance. You will see the exact words from the Watchtower's own publications, in their own magazines, that make the new accounts almost impossible to defend on doctrinal grounds. And you will see the single number that explains why thousands of ordinary members are not just confused. They are furious. Stay with me. Part 1. The launch. The handle is JW_pressroom, 1_ between the letters. The Watchtower Society has been so concerned about confusion around it that they had to publish an official identification guide explaining how to verify the real one, because within days of the launch, dozens of imitation accounts had already appeared. Some added extra underscores. Some replaced the underscore with a period. Some claimed to be official translations into Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian. The official organization has had to instruct publishers, in writing, to ignore all of them and to report them to the platforms when they appear. The Instagram account carries a verified blue checkmark. The TikTok account, at the time of this recording, does not. Both accounts are in English only. There is no Spanish version. There is no Portuguese version. There is no French, German, or Italian version. For a religion that prides itself on translating its literature into more than 1,000 languages, the decision to launch in English alone is unusual. The Instagram bio reads, word for word, official press room of Jehovah's Witnesses, featuring news, announcements, and information for government officials, journalists, and researchers. Read that bio again. Notice what is missing. Members, publishers, the 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses around the world. The intended audience, according to the organization itself, is outsiders, journalists, government officials, researchers. The Watchtower Society has gone on record saying these accounts are not primarily designed for the rank and file. That is the cover story, the official framing, the doctrinal escape hatch. There is just one problem. There aren't 600,000 journalists covering Jehovah's Witnesses on Earth. There aren't 600,000 researchers studying the religion. The followers, overwhelmingly, are members. They found the account. They followed it. They shared it with each other. Many of them did it nervously, half expecting an announcement from the platform at the next midweek meeting, telling them to unfollow. That announcement has not come. And here is the second open loop I want to plant in your head, because we are going to come back to it before the end of this video. The most important number in this entire story is not 600,000. It is not 5 posts. It is the number of members who, in the past decade, were privately reprimanded, restricted in their congregational privileges, or in some cases disfellowshipped, for doing the exact thing the governing body has now done in public. We will get to that number, and we will get to the names of some of those members. Part 2. The reaction from inside. On JW Talk, the closest thing to an official online community for active witnesses, the threads began appearing almost immediately. One active publisher wrote that friends kept sending him the same reel, and he didn't know what to think. He went to jw.org first. He could not find any mention of it. He had to verify the account was real by spotting recognized faces in the video clips before he was willing to accept that yes, the governing body had really done this. He was not alone. Across the forum, the pattern repeated again and again. People sending each other the link, people doubting, people asking for confirmation from their elders, people going quiet when the elders themselves had no idea what to say. In some congregations, brothers were told to wait for further instruction from the branch office before discussing the accounts in any official capacity. The talking points had not arrived yet. The question and answer sessions had not been scripted. The organization was, for the first time in a long time, standing in front of its own members without a unified explanation ready to hand out. On Quora, on Medium, in the comment sections of every ex-member YouTube channel covering the story, the reaction split into two distinct camps. The first camp welcomed the move. They argued the organization was finally meeting people where they are, that the Apostle Paul went into the marketplace to preach, that this was just modernization catching up. The second camp, larger and more vocal, asked a harder question. If social media was so dangerous yesterday, what changed today? If the platforms were instruments of misinformation last year, what made them acceptable this year? If members were counseled for years to delete their personal Instagram accounts, what was the point of all that counsel? Were they wrong then, or are they wrong now? One commentator writing on Medium summarized it in a single line. He pointed out that the leadership that just opened these accounts is the same leadership that has spent years warning members about the dangers of social media and the misinformation that can spread online. He did not say it as an attack. He said it as a simple observation. And that observation has been echoed, in some form or another, in nearly every public discussion of the launch. The most uncomfortable reactions, though, have not come from outsiders. They have come from elders. Quietly. In private. In conversations that don't make it into the comment sections. Several have privately admitted to confusion. They had counseled brothers and sisters in their congregations for posting religious content online. They had restricted privileges. They had handled judicial committees. They had, in some cases, helped disfellowship publishers whose only offense was running a Bible study account on Instagram. And now they were being asked to celebrate, or at least accept, the governing body doing the same thing on a vastly larger scale. How does an elder explain that to the brother whose privileges he removed last year? How does he look at the sister whose disfellowshipping he voted for? The organization has not given them an answer. And until they do, the accounts will keep growing, and the questions will keep growing alongside them. Now circle back to that second open loop, the number I asked you to remember. Over the past decade, by conservative estimate from former Bethel staff and from documented judicial committee patterns, thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses have been formally counseled, restricted from privileges, or in some cases disfellowshipped, for the exact behavior the governing body is now doing in public. Posting content about Jehovah's Witnesses, running social media presences related to the faith, sharing congregational news online. The very actions the Watchtower called dangerous when ordinary members did them are now, when the governing body does them, called outreach. The behavior is identical, only the title of the person doing it has changed. Part 4. Why now? This is the question almost no one inside the organization is allowed to ask out loud. So let us ask it. In 2025, the Watchtower Society reported just over 9 million active members worldwide, across roughly 120,000 congregations. That number has been growing, but slowly, and well below the rate of global population growth. In several Western countries, including the United States, France, Germany, Australia, and increasingly the United Kingdom, membership has plateaued or declined among the under 30 demographic. Conventions are shrinking. Kingdom halls are being sold. Branches are being consolidated. The financial centralization of the past decade has been documented by independent journalists and by former Bethel workers alike. The real estate sell-offs in Brooklyn alone moved more than $1 billion onto the organization's balance sheet, and the move to Warwick consolidated headquarters into a fortress designed for an era that no longer exists. The younger generation, the demographic the organization needs most desperately, is not going to be reached through door-to-door work. They are not going to be reached through magazines left on bus seats. They are not going to be reached through trolley carts on city sidewalks. In 2026, they are reached through the For You page, through Reels, through 15-second clips that get recommended in the algorithm before they have time to scroll past. The governing body knows this. Everyone in the building at Warwick knows this. The press room framing, the carefully chosen language about journalists and researchers and government officials is the doctrinal cover. It allows the organization to enter the platforms it once condemned without explicitly saying it was wrong about them. The accounts can be defended internally as a press relations tool, even as their actual function is something much closer to direct evangelism aimed at a generation that does not answer doorbells. This is the strategic shift hiding inside the linguistic shift. The official line is that nothing has changed. The reality is that everything has changed. The organization that built its identity on the promise that the truth never changes has just changed one of its most consistently taught positions in living memory. and it is asking its members to absorb the change without naming it. That is a lot to ask of people who were told, for 30 years, that the same change was dangerous when anyone else suggested it. There is a pattern in institutional history that is worth naming clearly. Organizations that loudly warn the public against a behavior and then quietly adopt that behavior themselves almost always pay a price. Not immediately, not visibly, but in the slow erosion of credibility, in the private doubt of longtime members, in the questions that get asked at the kitchen table after the meeting is over and the children have gone to bed. For years, Jehovah's Witnesses were told that social media was where the world wasted its time, where misinformation spread, where the spiritually weak were lured away. And now the official channel of the organization is competing for attention on those same platforms, against those same algorithms, beside that same content. It is not a small shift. It is not a cosmetic update. It is a foundational doctrinal reversal dressed up as a public relations initiative. The accounts may grow. They probably will. 600,000 followers in the first week suggests that members are watching closely, whatever they may say in front of their elders. The reels will go viral. The PR strategy will, in the short term, look like a win. The governing body will, in the short term, appear modern, relevant, connected. But the question planted in the heads of longtime members, the question that was not there a month ago, is going to stay planted. If the governing body was wrong about social media for 30 years, what else were they wrong about? If the official channel of God's organization can do a complete 180 on a teaching this prominent, this often repeated, what guarantee is there that the other teachings are not also up for revision the moment they become inconvenient? Once that question gets asked inside a witness mind, it tends not to leave. It travels with them to the next meeting. It sits next to them during the next public talk. It looks at them across the dinner table when the brother giving the announcement mentions the new accounts and pretends that nothing has changed. Everything has changed. They just have not been allowed to say so yet. If you have watched this far, you already know there is more to this story than a single account launch. Subscribe to the channel because over the next weeks we will be tracking exactly which governing body members appear in the new content, what the comment sections reveal about real member sentiment, and which countries see the strongest pushback from local elders. Hit the bell so you do not miss it. And in the comments below, tell me one thing. If you were a publisher today, would you follow the account, or would you wait for an explanation that may never come?